What's going on YouTube? It's Jason with JD Drones, and I'm home. And now that I'm home, there's a little bit of something here that I have been kind of keeping from you guys, and it's kind of a surprise, but for some people it's not much of a surprise. But if you look behind me, we've got some boxes to open up. So we're going to dig into these and I'm going to show you what I got. So let's get in the video.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing in my hair. I'm driving down the highway, gonna do this my way. I can feel it in the air. Here I go.
Say hello to my new little friend.
Say hello to my little friend.
The DJI Mavic 3 Classic. Yeah, that's right. We're bringing a new drone to the channel. This is just like the Mavic 3 Cine. The only difference is it doesn't have the telephoto camera on it. This has actually got the camera on it that's got 5.1K capabilities. It's got the 4/3 sensors on it, so it does really well in low light situations, and it has all the intelligent flight modes. It has cruise control. It's got so many different things that we're going to end up going through, but this is just going to be the unboxing of the drone, and then I can't really do much after the unboxing until the batteries are charged. So we're going to charge the batteries tonight, and we're going to continue this video in the morning. But I'm ready to crack this thing open. Okay, so when you open the box, this comes out first. And in here is the controller. Now this is the DJI new smart controller. As you can see, it's not much different from my other smart controller. It is lighter and there are less buttons on it, but you still got the control sticks in the back. You still have the nice large screen on the front, but there's no antennas on it. So that's interesting. Here's the brick for charging the controller. Now, with the Mavic 3 Classic, if you don't have the battery charger, you have to actually put the battery in the drone and charge it up that way. But I did get the Flymore kit. So with the Flymore kit, you do get the external battery charger, so you can charge multiple batteries at one time. So we're not going to use this to charge the battery inside the drone, but we will use this to charge the controller. This is the charging cord for the drone and for the controller. Now you can plug this in the wall, and then this will go into the drone or to the charger or to the controller. But on the end of that, if you can see that, you can actually put the other USB cable inside this, so you can charge the drone and the controller at the same time. It also comes with extra controller sticks, which if you lose controller sticks, you've got a pair. And let me tell you, I haven't lost any yet, but it doesn't mean that it won't happen in the future. And having that as a backup is really, really nice. Now, it also comes with instructions on how to use the controller and safety information and stuff like that. And here's the extra USB-C cable. And we're just going to leave that in the package right now because we're not going to need it. Now, before we go much further, with DJI, with the way that they send drones with the batteries, in order for you to be able to do anything with the drone, you have to charge the batteries first, or at least one battery, because the batteries are intelligent batteries, and so we're not going to be able to do anything with the drone itself tonight. And that's why I say we're going to have to do more of this tomorrow. But here is the star of the show, the DJI Mavic 3 Classic. And I love this holder because as far as the previous drones, it didn't really have anything that really kept it secure like this, but this is very, very secure. I mean, there's no way in heck any of this would move in shipping, or in my case in transit when I'm traveling on the road. So I do like this. Now as far as opening up, there's a little tab on this, and then you just release it. It's very flexible. Release it and pull, and you have your drone. Now with the Mavic 3 Classic, it does have omnidirectional sensors, just like on the Mavic 2 Pro. We're going to unfold this. Now you see you've got your 2 sensors in the front. You've got your upward sensors right here on top. You've got your downward sensors down here. And then you've got your side-facing sensors, which are actually positioned on the back of the drone here. So there's one there and there's one there. So you have the full 360 omnidirectional sensors. Now the battery for the drone, unlike the Mavic 2 Pro, is actually in the back of the drone. So you just push these 2 tabs in and battery pops out. Now this battery actually weighs a lot more, I think, than the batteries in the Mavic 2 Pro. In fact, it almost made the drone feel half as heavy. So, I mean, this is just a solid drone. Now, it does have all the stickers on it that comes with every DJI drone, so I'm gonna have to pull those off, which is no big deal. But look at the size of that camera. I don't know if you can see it, but that is a huge camera compared to the other drones that I have. Now, also in here, we've got 2 sets. Well, we have 1 set of extra propellers for this drone. This one has actually come with the propellers installed on it already, which is very nice. And this is the Flymore kit. It actually comes in a bigger box than the drone was in, which is really surprising to me, because I didn't think it was really going to need to come in anything much bigger. But we're going to cut into this one and we're going to see what we have here. Okay guys, this thing is really impressive. I really wasn't expecting, well, I don't know what I was expecting, because, well, I was expecting pretty much what I got with the Mavic Air 2. And this bag from DJI, this is a quality canvas bag. I mean, I'm definitely keeping the bag for other uses because this is actually very, very nice. The clips, these clips here, they're not plastic, these are metal. I don't know if you can hear that or not. That's metal. Okay, so they put a lot of work into this bag. Again, metal clips. And this would probably be where you would, check this out. So not only is it a bag, but it turns into a backpack. There's little D-rings down here that I wasn't sure what they were for, but now that I see this, and now instead of just a carrying case for your drone, you actually have a sturdy backpack, which is really surprising me. This is very, very cool. So if you do get the DJI Flymore kit, expect to get a nice quality backpack. I mean, this thing is very, very sturdy. And you can tell that they put a lot of work into making this. Okay, so now that I've figured out how to put that back together, there's a pocket right in front of here, so you could put something like, well, I wouldn't put the extra sticks in here, but you could put something right in front here. And when you actually close this up, that's going to protect all that. But again, this is all vinyl, so this is going to be very protective. And then this is just like a canvas, but it's a very high quality canvas. And the zippers seem like they're very sturdy as well. Now, when you pull this out, or when you open this up, I should say, there's a box here, and then a box here, and then there's a zipper bag right here. This is where you could probably put your extra sticks. But what do they have in here now? Okay, there's just the bag for those two bags that we don't need, the silica bags or whatever you call them. Now, here's our spare batteries. There's one, and there's two. Now, if you were going to use this to put your drone, you'd put your drone in here, you'd put your spare batteries in here, and there's actually room for 3 batteries. So there's the one that I have that's in the drone, and you got this one here, and you have this one here. So those 3 batteries would go in here, and then you could put like your extra propellers, your sticks, whatever you want in there, and then the drone would go here on this side of the bag. And then this would fold back up, and then you could close this back up. Now we're going to be using the other case, but I honestly think that I will end up using this backpack for something else in the future. I just need to figure out what. So this has got a bunch of stuff in it. So this is the DJI battery charger. And what you can do with this is you can put each battery in, so you can do all 3 at one time, which is going to be very convenient for me because whenever I fly, I always fly pretty much all 3 batteries. And then you've got 2 sets of extra propellers. So far, if you're lost track, we now have 3 batteries. We have 3 sets of extra propellers, plus the set of propellers that's on the drone. And then obviously we have the USB-C cord. Now, everything that DJI does is all USB-C. Now this is USB-C to USB-C. So that just plugs into there. And then I hope that they included a brick, but if not, that's fine. But it also comes with a car charger. Now, being a YouTuber that does drone footage on the road using my semi, this is going to be huge for me. I can actually take this and I can use this to charge all my drones through the cigarette lighter adapter. Now, this will go in here, USB-C to USB-C, and then you can actually charge all your batteries while you're on the road using the 12 volt in your vehicle. I am going to take these batteries and start charging these so that tomorrow morning we can actually do the full setup on the drone, because until these batteries are charged, we can't do anything with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all this stuff away and make sure that I don't make a mess for Haley for in the morning when she gets up for work. And then tomorrow morning we're going to bring everything up to the studio, and then we'll continue this. So stay with me. Okay guys, so it's the next day. We have all of the batteries charged, and so now the next step is to go through and we need to turn on the drone, and then we need to link it to the controller, get it registered with DJI, and then we'll actually be able to fly it. Now, the problem that I'm going to have today is that the weather is horrible outside. It's like -13 degrees outside, so it's too cold to fly it outside. but we are going to test it today. You're just gonna have to trust me. We're gonna test it today. Anyways, before we go into that though, I just kind of want to show you the progression that we've made from the first drone that we bought from DJI up until the drone that we have now. So let's take a look. Okay, starting with this little guy. This is the Mavic Air 2. This is the first drone that we bought from DJI. And this one it's really still a good drone. Don't get me wrong. It does have the smaller sensor on it. It does have the smaller camera on it. It does shoot 4K 60 though, so it's still a good drone. This one has the obstacle avoidance sensors on the front, and it has the obstacle avoidance on the back. Now you can see, if I bring it up real close, there's a little like burn mark, and all that is I got the decals from Decal Girl on the internet for this. It's got so much heat that comes out of these vents that it does tend to burn those decals. So even though that drone still flies the same, I just don't think that it looks good, and so I'm not going to be getting decals for the drone anymore in the future. Then we got the Mavic Air 2. Now this came with a 1-inch sensor. It has a larger camera on the front. Now this will shoot also 4K 60. This has got full omnidirectional obstacle avoidance. It's got the sensors on the bottom, sensors on the side, sensor on the back, sensors on the front, same thing on the other side. And again, it's got the camera up front. Now this one is what I've been using mostly here recently, and I've only used the Mavic Air 2 sparingly. This guy has been my daily driver for, well, since I got it, and then I've crashed it a couple times, but this is the one that that's been doing the drone footage for my channel for quite a while. Each one of these drones has its own little registration sticker on it, because all of these drones have to be registered with the FAA, and the registration for these drones is $5, and the registration lasts for 3 years, just so you know. Now, this is the Mavic 3 Classic. This has got the 4/3 sensor on it. Now this one will fly for apparently, according from what I've read, around 43 minutes or 48 minutes, but that's only in optimal conditions, so I'd probably get around 35 minutes flight time on it. We're gonna have to see when we actually put this thing up in the air and we're able to do all of the testing on all of its obstacle avoidance and all of its fancy tricks that it can do. But if you look, you got the sensors on the front, and then you've got the sensors right there, sensors on the top, and you've got sensors on the bottom. Now I did take all the stickers off last night. As you can see, that one's already got its registration on it. There's another thing that's different with this. In order for this drone to fly in the UK, it had to have a decibel level of 83 decibels or less. And what they did was they put these little orange rubber ends on the propellers, and that is supposed to actually dampen the noise when the drone is flying. So we're going to test that out downstairs when we fly it in the house. Yes, like I said, in the house. So that is the natural progression that we made over my career of flying a drone for YouTube. One other thing I'd like to point out is, if you can see, the battery compartments in this one and on that one are both on top of the drone. Now on this one, the battery compartment is actually on the back of the drone. So I don't know if that's really going to make a big difference. And then there's also a charging port. The charging port for this drone is right on the back of the drone, as well as the SD card slot. So that's going to be different as well, because the charging port and the SD card slots on the side on the other drones are on the side of the drone. So again, just little differences between the three. Now, some of you will also know that I started out my drone flying career with this guy. This is the Holy Stone 720, and this guy is probably about the same size as the Mavic Air 2, and I'll pull that up here in a second just to do a size comparison. Now, this one doesn't have any obstacle avoidance. This one doesn't have a 3-axis gimbal, and it just shoots 1080p for the most part. And so the quality out of this camera isn't going to be as good as any of the DJI drones. Now, as far as size comparisons go, this one here is just a little bit wider than the Holy Stone. Not by much, but the length is pretty much right around the same size. Now we have our drone and we have all of our batteries charged. The first thing that we're going to do before we put the battery in is I always use the SanDisk Extreme 128 gigabyte memory card. You can use whatever memory card you want, but I've had really good luck with these, and I've been using them all the time. So I'm just going to put this in here, if I put it in the right way. There we go. Now you can tell that it's in there because it'll just pop into place and then it won't pop out. And then we're going to close this door. All right, now we're going to grab one of our batteries, and you can tell this is charged because there's a button right on here, and if you press it, it should give you 4 green lights, and that'll say that it's fully charged. See, like that? So we're going to go ahead and stick this back in the drone. And this is the moment that I have been waiting for. Just make sure you hear that click, because if it doesn't click, it's not in. Now, you don't really have to spread the propellers. Not for what we're doing, but if you're going to be taking off and flying, make sure that you spread these propellers out. If you don't, it's harder on the motor. And then these are just twist and turn and then pull off propellers. So you just twist and they just pop out. They're spring loaded. So, and then each one of these has either a black or a gray ring, and it's not focusing. So that's got a black ring, so that's going to go on the black propeller, because the propeller has a corresponding color to what propeller has to go to which one. And I'll show you the gray one. There's a gray ring around the propeller, the motor that takes that propeller, and there's a gray ring around that propeller right there. So just be aware that if you don't put the right color with the right motor, you're going to have major issues trying to fly your drone. Again, you just push down and twist, and then it'll pop back up and it's locked into place. So we are now ready to turn this drone on, and all you do to turn it on is you press and then press again and hold on the power button on the battery, which is the battery or the button that we pushed to see that it was fully charged. So press and hold. Okay, it is now turned on. Now we can turn on our controller with the same press and hold. Okay, so now we are at the point where it says activate DJI device. So I'm going to hit agree. Activation is successful. And then it says DJI Care Refresh, activate DJI Care Refresh. I'm going to activate that because I do have that, and it is activated. So now this drone is covered for any sort of damage, whether that be water damage, a flyaway,
If I'm just stupid and I crash it, which I hope I never do again, but I know that's going to happen. Now, it needs to update the drone and it needs to update the controller. So we're going to go ahead and hit the update button, because anytime that you get one of these drones, it's going to need a firmware update. Just be aware of that. It's going to take a little bit. So as soon as it's done doing its update thing, we'll be right back. I just figure while we're waiting, this is the new DJI RC. It's got the screen right in the remote, so that when you're flying it, you don't have to attach your phone to it, but if you wanted to, the capability is still there, okay? So this doesn't completely, this is a replacement for your phone. You can get the other DJI remote control that allows you to use your phone just by pulling up the antennas, and you put the phone in there and attach the USB-C cable and stuff like that. But I like this controller better because it's very much like the smart remote that I had for the Mavic 2 Pro. Now the difference is with the Mavic 2 Pro, you actually have physical antennas. It's not built into the RC like this is. This one has no physical antennas on it. They're built right into the remote control. You still have the sticks on the back, just like you do on this one. I kind of like this one too, because this one, you can actually close this down and it keeps the sticks from falling out, okay? But they both run on Android software. They both turn on the same way. And they're really good remote controls. Now, I haven't used this one yet, but I can tell you right now, just by lifting this, this is a heck of a lot lighter than the older smart controller from DJI. So, and I appreciate having a lighter controller. We're almost done with the update. We're almost done with the updating process, it looks like. So as soon as we get done, we'll be right back. Now it says SD card detected. Switch storage location to SD card. I'm going to hit confirm. Now this is a beginner tutorial. If you're a beginner, definitely go through and do that pre-flight check. Now it's probably going to need a compass calibration. We're going to skip it because we don't need that, so we're going to hit confirm. It says thank you for using the DJI AirSense aerial sensor and alert system after the system is enabled. So you'll be able to use this, and it'll actually go around, or this will actually tell you whether or not there's other aircraft in the area. So it says aircraft not in flight, vision systems and obstacle avoidance disabled currently. So there you go. You've got your return to home. I screwed up. You can set your return to home altitude here. You can set your max altitude, max distance. You can format your SD card, which I will probably do right now. Hit format. And now your SD card is going to be formatted. Now the other thing that you can do is come over here into the settings itself. Now it is set for brake if it comes next to an obstacle. We always want to have it on bypass. There's very few times where I would want it to brake, but I like to bypass. Now it says bypassing options. When controlling aircraft via the control sticks, aircraft bypasses obstacles proactively and maintains a safe distance from obstacles. Now that's normal. Let's see what Nifty says. When controlling aircraft via control sticks and Nifty bypassing is enabled, aircraft avoids obstacles with more subtle attitude changes and flies more smoothly, but is of increased collision risks. Use with caution. So we're probably not going to do Nifty, but I just wanted to show you that. Display radar map. Now you've got two types of return to home. You've got optimal and you have preset. And optimal is probably going to be the way to go. Preset, you do the you change the return to home altitude, and it raises to the altitude and it'll come back to you. With optimal, it'll actually find the optimal route for you to take back to the home point. So we're just going to keep it right there, and then we're just going to leave all this alone. It says compass normal, IMU is normal. I'll calibrate that later. And then pretty much everything else is about the same. Now, the nice thing, if you do end up losing your drone and you can't find it, it does have the Find My Drone feature, and it's on all the DJI drones. If you just hit this and your drone is turned on, it'll show you a map where you're at, and then you can, or where the drone is at, apologize. And then if you hit start flashing and beeping, the drone will actually start flashing and beeping. So now if you lose it, you can actually go out and find it, because that's pretty loud. So just a nice little feature. You've got all your controls. I don't do metric, I do imperial. And then subject scanning, when enabled, aircraft automatically scans and displays subjects in a camera view, only available for single shot photos and normal video recording. And then here's where you can change all of your settings for flying around. I'm not going to play with that today. If you want to recenter your gimbal, you can hit this and it'll do it for you automatically. And then you have your stick modes. Basically, this is mode 2. This is the one that most people use, so, and this is the one that I've always used, so we're just going to keep it in mode 2. You can customize the buttons. Now on C1, C2, I like that C1 is for the recenter tilt down the gimbal, but on C2 we're going to change that to cruise control, because I want to try out that feature. Your right dial is going to be right up here. Oh, I'm sorry. Your right dial is going to be zoom in and out. Your C1 and your right dial button is going to adjust the shutter speed, and your C2 button in the right dial is going to adjust your ISO. Okay? Your left dial is actually going to be your gimbal control button, so there isn't really anything you can do for that. Now we're actually in the camera settings now. If you want, you can do JPEG. You can do JPEG and RAW for your photos. I always do JPEG and RAW because I like to go through, edit my photos in RAW. I want 16 by 9 pictures. The any flicker we're going to leave on auto. Turn our histogram on. Overexposure warning, that puts the zebra lines on the picture. We're going to have that. I like to have my grid lines so that I can do my rule of thirds. Now if you look down here in the lower right hand corner, it's set for 4K 60. Okay? You can go to 1080 and do 1080 60. You do C4K, which is cinematic 4K at 60. Or you shoot in 5.1K 50. And I can't wait to try that, because I think that's going to be a phenomenal picture. There's nothing left to do but see if it flies. Okay, now so we've got the drone on the floor in the dining room, and I've got pretty much everything away from it that it could possibly hit taking off. So we're going to power up the drone, we're going to power up the controller, and we're going to see if this thing flies. Do not, I repeat, do not try this at home. Okay, we got the drone powered up. Okay, now there's two ways that you can fly, that you can take off. You can either use the two control sticks and point down into the center, and that will get the propellers to spin. Okay, so now that they're spinning, you can just push up.
I believe I can fly.
So tell me what you think about the Mavic 3 Classic. Do you think that I'm going to enjoy this drone? Do you think I'm going to crash this drone? Do you think that is going to be a good addition to the channel? I think it's going to be an amazing addition to the channel, but I want to know what you think. So go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'd love to read it and see what you think about things. If you enjoyed this content, there's going to be more content coming out for the Mavic 3. We're going to take it out, we're going to fly it, we're going to test all the different abilities that this drone has, and see what we can get out of it. But I just want to take it and fly it and see what I can do with it, and hopefully make some great content in the future for you guys. If you enjoyed this content, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified the next time I do one of these great videos with the Mavic 3 Classic, especially when we start getting into the flying, because that's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to be long videos because the drone can fly about 40 minutes at a shot, so hopefully you'll stick around for that ride. And for future pictures that I can't put on YouTube, go to my Facebook and my Instagram pages, JJ Drones 360. I thank you for coming into the JJ Drone Studios here in Quinnipiac, Michigan, and I appreciate you for coming along for this ride with me, and we'll see you later on down the road. Bye everybody.